to Mindmachine Artist Talks. I have a very special guest today because he is a Native American and he's living in Denmark. Who would have thought that? And he's not just a Native American, he's also the youngest person to ever be appointed as a speaker for the Elder Society.
That's correct. It was a traditional position.
Yeah.
They're traditional leaders. So a lot of times when people think of elders, they just think of old people. But no, they were older, but they're also traditional leaders.
Yeah.
Medicine people, singers.
Yeah.
Reflecting our traditional society and culture back home.
Yeah.
But they're the top.
But great to have you here, Stephen. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I just want to say last thing. Please, if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button. It will mean a lot to me. Thank you. Let's get on with it now.
Okay.
I met you just 1 week ago or something.
Just a few days.
Just a few days ago. So I haven't had a lot of time to make a lot of research. But I know I have some. I know that you have a bachelor from UCSD.
Yeah, mass communication.
In mass communication, yeah. And you have a master also?
In human behavior.
In human behavior. What is that?
Human behavior is researching, analyzing, and looking at how people behave.
Yeah.
In life.
Okay.
So you're taught to see them. Look at their physical actions, not just their words, to get an assessment of who they are. So you look at their complete selves, their physical self, their verbal self, and their mental self, and you're able to get a good perspective on who am I talking to, who am I looking at. And also it's used for healing.
Oh.
So
that is interesting. I would like to know a little more about
people that have improper human behavior often reflects negative experience that they've had in life. Could be from childhood,
usually
abuse or something, or it could be drug related. It could be many things.
Yeah.
And so through that analyzing and assessment of their personality and their being, then you're able to help them and assist them and get them on a path of healing and able to get them to see themselves, which is most important.
Yeah. And how, when you take a kind of a Western education about this, how does this relate to your native view on it?
Okay, well, originally, I was very political when I first entered college.
Yeah.
And I quickly became the president of the Minority Student Organization.
Okay.
This was in 69, 70. So these were very political times in the U.S. in terms of minority people expressing themselves.
Yeah.
So we created at Palomar College in San Marcos, California, the Multicultural Studies Department, which was the first one within California that reflected the native culture, the Chicano culture, which is what they called themselves, Mexican Americans, and the black culture, and separate studies department for each of those.
Okay.
Which is still going today. It's a very successful program.
Oh, that's nice.
And when I first started, there were just a handful of us that were dedicated to doing this. It had never been done before.
Yeah.
So
you've been on the forefront.
Yeah, and when was about 2 years ago, somewhere in there, I got an email from one of the people that's still involved, a student, and thanking me. Where there were just a handful of us minority students going to college at the time. Now there are over 30,000 at that college. So I thought, oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, of course.
So, you know, you do things.
So you have achieved a lot of good things with that.
Yeah. So I became more aware in the process. High school was a very tumultuous time, and a lot of drinking, a lot of fighting, and that's just reservation status of when I was growing up. So when I first entered college and got involved in what I had just told you, I realized what I had been fighting in high school and rebelling against was racism. But I was internalizing it within a negative way through drinking and fighting.
Yeah.
And so when I got into college and got involved in this political process, I saw, oh, there's a way to fight racism in a positive way.
Yeah, that's
so my pursuit in further education, I not only got a master's, I was the first American Indian to go to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology on a PhD.
Yeah.
Now,
and you were the first one.
I was the first one, and that was in community development. So my impetus for doing this was to take this knowledge, look at our traditional knowledge, go back home, and make a better life within the Indian world. That was my pursuit of my education.
Yeah. Oh, that's a noble way. And you've been really, really active in your life.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of things.
Yes, and I'm my traditional name is Small, which means hummingbird.
Ah, yeah. And that is you have written a couple of books.
Yeah.
And you
this is the most recent. It's called The Flight of a Hummingbird.
Yeah, it's quite new, right?
Yeah,
it's from this year.
It's just been published on Amazon.
Ah, that's great.
And it's filled with beautiful artwork by a native artist by the name of Esquibel. And it reflects my experiences in life, and not just that, it reflects my some poetry and thoughts and prayers. The best things that I've touched in life are in this book. So it's not a complete book of who I am, but I think it's the best of what I've experienced and touched.
So that leads me to another question. What in you decided that I'm gonna write a book? I mean, this you have the other one here. The first one is a different.
Yeah,
book.
it was a children's story I wrote, and I had I'm done with this. It's called Grandma Mouse's Broom.
Yeah.
And it's about teaching children to be clean. And we were very clean people traditionally. So it's about reteaching ourselves the positive values that we used to hold, which we've gotten away from. But it's also showing the non-native people that we were as much about positive values as anything else, contrary to what they've been taught. We were not these filthy savages running around. And then I did it both in English and Spanish, because where I'm from, California, Spanish is a very dominant language.
Yeah.
And so it's a primary reader for kids learning English. That's why it's bilingual.
Ah, that's
and
great.
This first one was done depicting the Navajo culture.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to do, and again, whether I'm done or not, is continue to write more children's stories. The artwork is beautiful.
Yeah.
Reflecting different native cultures. So the next one I wrote was going to depict the Apache culture, where this depicts the Navajo culture, but building upon the mice family. So the next one's story was about Grandpa Mouse, and it was about sharing and caring.
Yeah.
So, but I don't have an artist the artist that helped me do this, beautiful woman, Anna Puff, is no longer available. And I haven't been able to find an artist that's able to do the pastel kinds of work that she did to continue the storyline. So you can see she's in front of a hogan.
Yeah.
That's a traditional Navajo home.
Ah, okay, okay. That's great.
So,
that's great.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I think that's something that needs to be taught,
Yeah.
not only for
But how
ourselves
did
again,
they-
but for other people to see and learn about too.
Yeah.
within
So,
cultures.
so most of the things you've done in life is to enlighten other people about your culture. Is that correct?
And two, one, not only to enlighten other people about our culture, but to enhance us again.
Yeah.
You know, we've been suppressed
Yeah.
for hundreds of years. For instance, it's only within recent times that we've been given partial rights back by national law in the U.S.
Yeah.
to practice our religion, practice our beliefs. That was taken away from us.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's trying to rebuild the spirit of who we are within our traditional values and beliefs. Obviously, we can't go back 500 years ago. We no longer
No, that's not.
hold title to the land and the resources as how we lived then.
Yeah.
So, but we can retain who we are and the spirit of who we are,
Yeah.
and live that out in contemporary times.
Yeah.
Now, how got me into writing this book, one of the things I used to have to do as Speaker of the Elders Society, and the elders would be there with me, is conduct traditional ceremonies. And some of those ceremonies were funerals. And I'd be asked to talk at funerals.
Ah, okay.
And there was this young girl, her name was Janine Satal, a beautiful young girl, and I almost adopted her when she was 4. In fact, I brought her into my home because her parents were having difficulties. And she was 15, and she was out with a young Indian man who had done a drug deal gone bad.
Yeah.
And so there were some other young Indian men looking for him. And they caught up with him while he was with Janine in this truck, and he pulled a shotgun out to shoot him, and he ducked, and Janine took it straight to the head. So her mother, Rose, phoned me up crying.
Yeah.
Steve, could you please come?
But she survived then?
Well, no, the girl didn't.
No, no, the
her
girl
mother
didn't.
phoned me,
Yeah.
Rose.
Ah, okay.
Can you please come and talk at Janine's funeral?
Yeah.
Oh, it broke my heart because I loved this girl since she was little.
Yeah.
And so I went down, before I talked, I went out and meditated and prayed, and give me the words to say to this. People, all the people.
Yeah.
And so before that, I went down to the Rincon Reservation, which wasn't far from the San Pasqual Reservation, again, all in San Diego County, to pick up my Uncle Ditchy. He was 90, traditional leader from Rincon Reservation. And so I went to his house. I said, Uncle Ditchy, I'm supposed to talk at this funeral again. Would you like to come with me? Okay, Steve. So I put him in my truck, and we began driving up to the where the funeral was going to take place. He said, well, Steve, what are you going to say to the people? What are you going to say this time? I said, well, Uncle Ditchy, I'm going to tell the people that we're all to blame. Because we see all the wrongs that are going on in our community.
Yeah.
Kids drinking on drugs, different abuses going on, and yet we no longer function as a tribe. We no longer care for each other. So none of us say a doggone thing.
Yeah.
We just let it continue. As a result, we're all to blame.
Yeah.
And he said, Steve, what you're saying is true, but all you're going to do is get the people mad at you again. That's not what they want to hear. Yeah. And I looked at my Uncle Ditchy, he's 90, and I thought, well, he's 90, he's done his best in his life to keep things going. Yeah. So I got there and I said, basically what I just told you and more, And he was right. Most of the people got mad at me again. That's not, they don't want to hear they're responsible.
No.
Partly in any way. So after the mother appreciated it, maybe two other people got a hold of it. There are hundreds of people there. And so I was driving my Uncle Ditchy back home. He said, Steve, we've seen what you've tried to do for the people, and we know where your heart and spirit is. But what you don't see is the people haven't suffered enough yet. Yeah. That's why they don't hear you.
Yeah.
He said, you need to just go away and be happy and do something else in life, and check in with the people every now and then and see if they're ready to hear what needs to be said. So that's what led me to writing the book. You asked a question.
Yeah.
I have long stories. I don't have short stories. Sorry.
It's okay. It's fine. One thing I would like to know is, because you already, when you were 32 years old, you got appointed as a speaker for the Indian Elders
Society.
Yeah. And how do you become that?
It's not something you become.
No, how does it happen?
Well, for me, back to my name, Hummingbird, I was sent to a national conference and met a elder and medicine man from Canada by the name of Rufus Goodstriker.
Yeah.
And Rufus, in talking to him, said, Steve, you need to go up on your sacred mountain and fast and pray. And you'll see that the spirit has never died amongst the people you live, even though it's very developed around you. So I thanked him, and then I went back home, and I was running the San Pasqual Indian Reservation at the time, the administrator, and I couldn't get it off my mind. Sacred Mountain, I've lived here all my life. Well, I don't know any sacred mountain. And so I began asking around different elders, and then finally this elder said, yes, there's a mountain over there. It's called Mount Tecate. We call it Mount Kuchama.
Yeah.
I said, can I go on the mountain? They said, yeah. And so I took my truck and drove to where the mountain was, and a little highway runs at the base of it, and there was a turnout spot for my truck, so I parked it in there, and I got out of the truck, and I was looking up at the mountain going, oh boy, how do I climb this? It's full of chaparral. Native bushes. They grow very thick and tall. And I couldn't figure out how am I going to walk through this stuff to get to, and you lose track of the top of the mountain once you start walking, because it's in two stages. So you get to like a little plateau, and then the top rises. So as you're walking, you lose track of the top. But anyway, this buzzing came to me as I was asking the question. I thought it was a bee. And it was a hummingbird, and it came right to me and then flew to this ravine. And then flew back to me, and then flew to the ravine again. And I said, oh, it wants me to follow it. So I followed it, and it was a perfect path and easy way up the mountain. Not only that, it led me to a grotto where there are hundreds of hummingbirds feeding from a natural spring and deer. So I sat there with them. And so then I went up to the top of the mountain and fasted and prayed, and then I came down. And then I began talking to the elders what I had experienced. And they said, that's your medicine. You're hummingbird now. And you need to find out about the hummingbird and what medicine it brings to you in your life. And so then that led to me having more direct experiences with the elders. And a couple of events happened that forced the elders to reorganize. And I was a part of that event. So became working with them, and then they said, you're going to be our speaker. You're going to lead us. And I was in shock. I mean, I'm 32 and I'm looking at people that are 70, 80. You know, people that knew my grandparents. And I'd always been taught to respect my elders. So for a long time we'd sit and I wouldn't say a thing. I'd just listen. And then finally one of the elders looked at me and said, "Hey, Steve, when are you going to talk when you're dead?" And I said, "Oh, I can talk." They opened the door.
That's great.
One thing led to another, and I asked them, I said, "Why are you placing me in this position?
Yeah.
Why me?
Yeah.
I'm looking at you as the leadership. Why me?"
But
and they said, "The only thing we can tell you is you're an older soul."
Yeah.
So that was it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
To your question.
Be
careful
and,
what you ask me. I have long stories.
Yeah, but it's great. I love to listen to them.
Yeah.
Really I do. And one thing that came to my mind when you were talking, because I grew up here in Denmark, right?
Yeah.
And we don't learn that much about Native American, at least we learn a little bit in school, and probably a lot of the history is, written by the conquerors.
Yeah.
So we can't really rely on what is true and what is not true and so on. But one thing, because I've read a lot of books written by Indians also, and they talk about this medicine. And I would like to get more in terms. Can you say that medicine is like awareness?
It depends what medicine you're talking about.
Yeah, the medicine.
Some medicine is plant based for healing.
Yeah, I'm not
and
talking
some
about.
medicine is spiritual.
Based
in healing.
That's what I'm talking about.
I thought so, but I just want to point out to your viewers there's a different types of medicine. Spiritual. Let me read something, and this will give you your answer. We always start out in prayer, and so I wrote this prayer.
Yeah.
And it reflects what you're asking. And I wrote this for my father, who I was caring for at the time. And it's called the Prayer of Oneness and Healing. And it's got a beautiful piece of art that goes with it, showing an elder. And, O Great Spirit, the Creator of all, in which all life is a part of you. You need to close your eyes and think of these words. As a reflection of your spirit, life is but the striving to remain within your perfect reflection. That you, O Great Spirit, provide all I need to remain a part of you, through what I am provided and not provided in life, through what I experience and do not experience in life. That you and all you have created are immortal in spirit. Therefore, all who remain a part of your reflection shall also live forever in spirit with you. That you have given me humankind, your laws of balance, respect, love, gratitude, honesty, trust, faith, and hope, which allows me and all to live in harmony with your spirit and thereby remain a part of you. That with you, O Great Spirit, in my heart, my mind, my words, and actions, nothing or no one can truly harm, injure, or deprive me of any blessing you wish for me in my life, for you are above all, and only you are truly great. O Great Spirit, I freely acknowledge it is only when I wander outside of your perfect reflection and do not live by the laws you have provided that I truly suffer and become ill. That it is only by staying within your perfect reflection that I remain whole without need or suffering or illness. That only to you, O Great Spirit, do I look to for all my needs, happiness, blessings, joys of life, and healing. It is only to you, O Great Spirit, do I place my absolute trust and faith. I give thanks to you, O Great Spirit, for allowing me to be a part of you and for all in my life. I pray to you, O Great Spirit, for your guidance, blessing, forgiveness, healing, strength, and protection, I hope.
That's really beautiful.
So that's spirit.
Yeah. So
that's medicine. That's spirit.
Yeah. So it's
So
the medicine is the spirit, and it's your
the spirit,
and it's also sometimes the path in your life.
Yeah, the spirit is within each of us.
Yeah.
And each of us has a capacity of developing and expanding that spirit. Now, in the book, there's another writing called The Circle of Understanding, and that shows a person how you achieve what you're asking, spiritual oneness and balance.
Okay. That's
It's all
good.
in the book.
Yeah. So, are you going to write more books?
I hope so.
If it's all in here, you don't have to write it anymore? Or?
No, I have a lot more I'd like to write.
Yeah.
I'm in need of assistance.
Yeah.
One, I'd like to see these books do better. I live very modestly on a modest income, so the income would be helpful. But then the sales of them also provide me the income resources to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like I need to find an artist, and also it gives me some more energy. That it's a worthwhile endeavor. That I'm not just writing to write.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're an artist.
Yeah.
So when people buy your artwork, then it gives you energy to do more artwork.
Of course.
You feel like you're doing something worthwhile in your life. When your artwork just sits there and nobody buys it or pays attention to it, then you kind of wonder, well, why are you expressing your art? Just for yourself?
Yeah, it's kind of true, but it's also I've really tried to liberate myself for the acknowledgement of your art. But the thing is, it costs money to buy canvases and paint, so I need to sell something in order to continue. Also,
that's part of life. You know, it's the same with writing a book. You know. It's fine and dandy to do it and put it out there, but then if it doesn't sell and nobody reads it and it doesn't go anywhere, then you kind of wonder, well, why? Why did I write it?
Yeah.
You know, part of it was just for myself, but obviously it was for other people too, and wanting to accomplish certain things.
But maybe it's like the same thing with the ceremony that you were speaking for, that people will reach out for it when they are ready for it.
Yeah, that's starting to happen now, little by little. So I'm trying to be patient. But I'm 73. You know, I'm no longer like you. I'm no longer a young man.
Oh, that's
full of energy and life and vitality.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyway, as I told you before we started, I have these cards, and I'm just gonna shuffle them a little bit.
Go ahead.
And you will take the first one, or
okay. I'll take this one. Get out of there.
Yeah.
There,
okay.
Stuck.
Okay.
One at a time.
One at a time. And what this?
Can instruments have a spirit or a soul? What do you mean, guitars?
Could be guitars, could be flutes, could be any instrument.
Everything has spirit. Everything does.
Because everything comes from Mother Earth.
Because, yes, and because, you know, as you create your art piece has a spirit that's a reflection of your spirit.
Yeah.
So you can put good energy or bad energy into what you're doing, depending upon what's in you.
Yeah.
So if what's in you is good, then you want to create something that's good for people to have and take in. That spirit.
Yeah.
So instruments are a reflection of your spirit.
Yeah.
So a guitar.
But let's say that you are going to make a violin or some wooden instrument.
It's the same. It's
Does
the
the
same
wood
as
have
making
spirit
anything.
before you start making?
When you create, you put your spirit into it, and by doing that, you create a spirit within an object. So, for instance, some of the funeral ceremonies that we used to do on the Cocopah and the Quechan reservations, which are outside Yuma, Arizona, they still do cremation and are allowed to. California used to, Southern, but are no longer do it because California is what's called the Public Law 280 state, which gives the state of California a certain authority over Indian land, whereas the Cocopahs and Quechans are not a Public Law 280 state, and they have full right to be who they are and do what they do. So in that cremation process, which goes on for 3 nights and 2 days, at the end of it, all the personal possessions of the person get cremated with them, because they hold
the spirit of
the
that
person within them. And the reason they're cremated is they do not want anybody to have those objects to hold back that person's spirit from progressing to the next level. So how's that for an answer?
Yeah, that's another view that I haven't really
And sometimes
thought about.
there would be instruments that would be cremated, depending on who the person was.
But I guess the wood that you choose to make the instrument from
Well,
also
it comes
have
from a tree.
Yeah.
And the tree has a spirit.
Yeah.
So everything has a spirit and it's all connected.
And if you, let's say, I'm just gonna dig a little more into it. If, let's say, I make a guitar. I go into the forest, I find a tree, I chop it down, I let it rest, so, and so on and so on. And I make this and I put my spirit into it. And let's say I sell it to somebody, can they change the spirit in the instrument?
Yeah.
Through like a ceremony or?
No. They can change the spirit within the instrument by singing negative songs, utilizing the instrument.
Yeah, okay.
Instruments are just a reflection of who we are, a part of our spirit.
Yeah.
So it depends upon the spirit of the person that's using the object and what they're using it for, their intent. Intent carries spirit.
It makes so much sense. Also in if you go down to a molecular level.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if you have read like Joe Dispenza and things like that, but he explains it from a scientific point of view.
Yeah.
How we attract and
Yeah, we're all energy.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So we can be negative energy or positive energy, and the energy within us can be negative and positive. And if you look at atoms and down to the molecular level, there's always just positive and negative.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
the object is not, no one's perfect, so you want to try, but the object is to find the balance.
Yeah.
And live in balance.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you are there, you are more truly you, right?
So you don't want to be too positive and you don't want to be too negative.
No.
You want to find that balance.
Yeah.
Well, we're all here for our personal growth and development spiritually. So in that sense, no. As long as we are progressing spiritually. Now, the cemeteries are full of people that did not progress very far.
Yeah.
And so it depends who we are, where we are at in our progression of our spirit.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
That was one thing. Because we talked about this before, why is this spirituality more important now than before?
Oh,
in
that
this
was,
time?
I was just asked to speak at a place, I was telling you, in front of the National Baha'i Assembly here in Denmark. And the question that they wished me to speak on was, why do we need a spiritual revolution today?
Yeah.
And we need it because all you have to do is look around and see the negative intrusion we've put upon all life on the earth, to the point that we're putting humankind at risk.
And you're thinking about the environment?
Well, more than just the environment, I'm thinking of the earth and all life. All aspects of the earth have life. The water, the sky, the trees, the birds, all things.
Yeah. And
so much we've destroyed. And so we have this great imbalance. And that's being shown by the earth trying to rebalance itself using the natural elements at its disposal: fire, water, air, earth. So you're seeing tremendous fires, historic
Yeah.
floods, historic droughts,
Yeah.
historic this,
Yeah.
historic that,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's going to continue and increase.
Yeah,
And,
I'm afraid
and
so,
that's
yeah.
why we need to have this spiritual growth within people, because everybody has to be the answer.
Do you think that this out of balance that the nature are is a reflection of that have been so many people for so many years that's been out of balance and therefore created a lot of this destruction?
Well, I think in terms of the impact on the, it's a couple of things. One, the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
That was significant and has contributed to
But a lot of that has also...
much of the way we live and pollute. And the other is the world developed an economic system based on waste and greed.
Yeah, yeah, but
And
I mean
so,
the industrial revolution has also been kind of based on greed in some degree, right?
yes, all of it was.
Yeah.
So, all of this is led. Like I said, everything has spirit. And so we can no longer afford to have a wasteful economic system.
Yeah.
The earth cannot sustain the level of resources that are needed to have that. And this is increased more with the development of what were undeveloped countries, India, China, other places, and everybody wants cars. Everybody wants two-color TVs.
Everybody wants more.
Cell phones. Everybody wants more.
Yeah.
And we're at a point when the earth is saying, wait a minute, you've already taken too much. No more to offer.
But that's what I mean with people being out of balance for many, many years. I mean, greed is an out of balance thing.
Yes.
And the greed has kind of constructed all this destruction.
That's part of greed is, for lack of a better word, the major sin that we're fighting today.
So if we get this spiritual revolution,
I'm going to tell you something, and your viewers something important.
Yeah.
This is how we lived and was our traditional law. And if we could get this into play today, in people's hearts and living, we would instantly have a much better world. And that's this. If everyone who had enough shared, everyone would have enough. And it's not just about sharing physical things.
No.
It's about sharing our love, our compassion, our care, our knowledge with each other and all life, not just human life, all life.
Exactly.
And we would have a much better world quickly.
I totally agree.
So much of the answer, as I've tried to tell, is within each one of us.
Yeah.
And each one of us has to be the answer. We can't wait for our governments and corporations for the answer because they're part of the problem.
Yeah, they're way too out of balance.
They're part of the problem.
Yeah.
So we have to be the answer.
Yeah.
So what I've tried to write in my book and for people is to give them a way of understanding and achieving that answer within themselves.
Yeah, the change will always come from inside and not from outside.
Yeah. I've always shied away from this type of activity I'm doing with you. And it took a while even to write the books because too many people are looking for someone else to be the answer.
Yeah, that's true. But again,
I have some answers, but I am not the answer.
No, but
nor do I want to be looked at as the answer.
No. Because in a way, we are unique beings that are walking alone on this earth, right? In some degree. We have to share and learn from each other, of course, but we are alone, and that means also that we have the responsibility.
Yes.
To progress ourselves and to do these things.
Yeah, you need to understand every blessing in life carries an equal responsibility.
Yeah.
So the greater the blessing you ask for and you're given in life, the bigger the responsibility you're going to have.
Yeah.
And that can be in regard to money, that can be in regard to having children. It depends on the blessing that you're asking for.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you're a creative person, and you've been given that blessing in life to be creative.
Yeah.
That carries a responsibility.
It does. It
You know,
does.
and I'm sure you feel it at times.
I do it almost
that's
every
why
day.
they have that old saying,
Yeah.
be careful what you pray for, you may get it.
Yeah.
Okay, pick
Yeah.
another card.
Yes, yes.
Get on with it.
Okay.
Get on with the program.
Yeah.
I got to keep you focused.
Uh,
And usually you got to keep me focused.
yeah, but
Okay, let's see what you picked. Everything that exists has a feminine and a masculine side. That's true.
how does that come into life? If you see, like, we are sitting on a couch. Is this feminine or masculine or?
No, you know, well, it depends. This couch doesn't. The table doesn't. But some of the things that you create can reflect femininity or masculinity. But we're all one. We're a combination of all the above, feminine and masculine within ourselves. We all have that.
Yeah.
Now, how we lived traditionally, we knew that. So we didn't have this separation of masculine and feminine that you see in the world today. A woman could become a chief. A woman could become a medicine person. A woman could become a warrior. It was whatever was in a woman. It was okay. And the same with a man.
Yeah.
So it was more about allowing the individual to become as great as they had it within them to become,
potential,
not based on masculinity or femininity, because we saw each other as one.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
There's something there for everyone to learn.
Yeah.
I think, because today it has kind of there's a lot about this today. When you look around, that people wants to have another pronouns, and what do you think about all this?
Well, we had gay people within our cultures, our societies. And we viewed them as sacred. Leave them alone.
Yeah.
Let them be who they are. It's okay. And so they were allowed to be who they were. So if a man wanted to show the more feminine side of who he was, that was okay.
Yeah.
And the opposite for a woman too. If she wanted to show a more masculine side of who she was, that's okay.
Yeah.
So we looked at all this as being one, and we didn't have the prejudices or restrictions and questions that people have within themselves today.
Yeah.
That was us traditionally.
Yeah, because I once asked a woman that I have known for some years, that is a clairvoyant woman, and I asked her, why is it that some come down here and are attracted to the same sex, or maybe confused if it's one or the other, and she told me, we have been here many times, and if you've been have 50 lives as a man, and then the next life you become a woman, then there will be some confusion for maybe 1, 2, 3 lives, and there will be different degrees. But that's the answer that I got, and it was very logical for me. What do you think about that?
A little bit different twist to it. It's about, again, as I told you earlier, the progression of us spiritually. And so it's about what we need to learn and experience to progress.
Yeah. So that's more, makes sense.
Maybe being feminine has experiences, giving birth, all these different experiences of being feminine that we need to experience for our own personal growth, spiritual growth. So that's how we look at it. But a little bit different than what you said.
Yeah, it is. But That's one of the reasons I make these interviews, so I can learn new things, right? And it's really. But reincarnation, is that part of the native beliefs?
No.
No. So you have one life.
Here, you have a progression of lives, but reincarnation. You don't come back as an ant. You don't come back as it's this progression of spirituality that determines who you come back as.
Yeah.
Based on what you need to learn to continue to develop.
Yeah. But there,
so
that
simple
makes,
as that.
That makes very much sense.
So, okay, third card.
Third card.
Last one.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll pick one way down here. The things you give focus growth. I hope so.
Yeah.
My book.
Yeah.
Is to focus growth.
Yeah.
Growth. The books. Everything we've talked about. So who I am. I freely share and give.
So also if you focus on negative things in your life, that will grow?
Yeah, you can pass on negativity, For instance, there can be generational traumas.
Yeah.
Where one generation experiences a negative thing, let's take child abuse.
Yeah.
And the next generation, they ratchet it up one more level, even more extreme abuse.
Oh.
So the negativity gets
it gets stronger. Yeah.
And it keeps going that way until it's finally broken. And usually when it gets to that point, it's crisis.
Yeah.
So yes.
So that means it's very important what you think and what you speak and what you act.
Yes. And that gets you into that book in there called The Circle of Understanding. It describes perfectly what you just said and how to do it.
Yeah.
And what it means.
I don't have any more. Do you have anything last you want to say?
I hope that you're successful in life.
Oh, thank you so much.
I hope those blessings come to you in life.
Thank you.
I think what you're doing is wonderful. I hope that it becomes appreciated by people. I hope that it allows you to have the necessary resources you need to have in life so you can continue to do what you're doing and continue to grow as a human being. And I wish everybody the best in life. And again, as we've talked about, we all need to be the answer. Period.
Yeah.
And we need to start building that circle amongst each other again. The circle's been broken. And one way we do that is by sitting down and sharing who we are with each other and freely embracing each other. And if one looks at all the different teachings from Buddha to Christ to many different people, prophets that have been placed upon earth, and we've had our own prophets and holy men too, it's all a beautiful mosaic. And if you put all the pieces together, it makes a wonderful picture. It's not all the superficial differences that people have in mind.
Yeah.
And they need to let go of that. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you for reaching out to me.
Well, it's been my pleasure and my honor
with you. And you're a wonderful man. And again, I wish you well in life.
I wish you all the best also. And please, guys, go and buy this book. It is really full of good things, teachings. And please hit the subscribe button and follow if you like this kind of videos. Thank you so much.